Gonna call in a specialist, boss?
No. Just an old friend who's dying to do me a favor.
12 most evil and classic cartoon villains of all time. If you thought that all the best of our childhood cartoon shows were all fun and games, think again. Although most of the stories were dreamy in nature and set in a fantasy world of miracles, they also had subtle elements to provide the young minds an insight into the real world. This called for some ruthless villains who would make life difficult for your most loved characters on the show. These classic cartoon villains have inspired us to understand right from wrong at an early age, besides entertaining us with their antics. Often, these characters also carried a lesson or two about relentless efforts and perseverance because even though they failed in their mission, they kept on trying. In this video, we have assembled the evilest of the lot, the villains who made us hate them, while also admiring them. Sit back with your munchies and take a walk along the golden alleys of the past with these unforgettable characters who characterized your childhood.
Before we go into our list, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click from you, but it means a lot to us. Thank you. Let's begin.
How ironic! By leading us to this planet, the Autobots have sealed their own...
Megatron from Transformers, 1984. The story of this iconic cartoon show was based upon the battle between the Autobots and Decepticons. These two groups had crashed onto the Earth during the Cybertronian War, and millions of years later, some geological activity revived these alien robots. These two opposing factions engage in a fierce battle where the Decepticons try to destroy Earth and use its vast energy resources, while the Autobots try to protect the people. Megatron was the deadly leader of the Decepticons, whose main purpose was to hurt humans and Autobots. As far as villains go, Megatron was as menacing as they get. Perfectly voiced by Frank Welker, this character was the perfect mix of intimidating and evil. Throughout the show, he was engaged in a continuous battle with the heroic Optimus Prime, and was the one character who often seemed to get the better of him. Megatron is depicted as cold, merciless, and a great threat to the world, in an obvious struggle between good and evil that constituted much of the plot. Megatron's character added the fear of evil triumphing over good. He is a power monger who is completely focused on his evil goals and has every dirty tactic in the book to have his way. He doesn't shy away from killing anyone who stands in his way or threatens his position. The fact that he can change into a handgun and shrink down to the size of any of the Decepticons add further appeal to his negative role. There will probably never be his like again in the world of cartoons.
You passed your test with flying colors.
Test? What test?
Your hairy little friend knows me as Oroku Saki. But you may call me the Shredder.
Shredder, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, 1987. 4 turtles were transformed into humanoids and trained as a ninja to be a protector. They fight against all forms of threat to the world, including the one from deadly villains like Shredder and Krang. The adventures of these 4 humanoid warrior turtles became one of the best Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoons of all time. The craze behind the show started with this animated show and went to be recreated several times. Let us begin by admitting that there are some scarier versions of Shredder than the one depicted in this show, but even then the character packed quite a punch as the leader of the nefarious Foot Clan. He was a constant enemy of the Turtles, troubling them at every instant. He was shown to be extremely intelligent with a high IQ of 300. And his skills in martial arts made him a formidable opponent in combats. He could be matched only by Master Splinter, and the Turtles were no match for his prowess. Even then, he never comes out on top and loses out due to some shortcomings, such as his dependence on the foot soldiers. James Avery was the voice for Shredder, and his soulful voice acting blew life into his character, bringing out the true evil inside Shredder. This character is sure to hold a permanent place in the hearts of all TMNT fans.
Commander, the G.I. Joes have escaped.
Escaped? Indeed. Their clever little cave-in has sealed their doom. They will all slowly perish.
Cobra Commander from G.I. Joe 1983. G.I. Joe is a special force that has been assigned the task of containing the evil forces of Cobra. The evil Cobra Commander seeks to dominate the world on land, sea, and air. It is up to the G.I. Joe to contain these ruthless forces from taking over the planet. When the Cobra Force builds their teleportation device, G.I. Joe must come up with their counter weapon. Their adventures around the world form several episodes of this very popular cartoon series in the 80s. We all love a villain who achieves redemption following a change in character. The Cobra Commander is iconic in this regard, as he started off being the conventional bad guy, whom the audiences loved to hate. Christopher Collins aced this character with his iconic voice that is still associated with an unforgettable villain. Besides the brilliant voice acting that portrayed him as a powerful evil force to reckon with, there are also some comical defeats that he faces towards the end. But even as he met with his sorry end, where a Joe wore him like a backpack through the frozen tundra region, he helped out the heroes, whom he had tried to destroy all his life. He isn't as dark as some of the other villains of the era, and has an element of likability towards the end of his role.
Skeletor. It's 2 against 1.
Think so? Count again!
Skeletor from Masters of the Universe, 1983. Prince Adam is the son of the rulers of the planet Eternia, and is the most powerful man in the universe, He-Man. He is faced with the evil forces of mighty Skeletor and his minions, who aim to take control of the world. All that stands between Skeletor and world domination is He-Man, with his powerful sword of Grayskull, and his friends who must save the universe alongside their home planet of Eternia. Skeletor was shown to be an alien invader who had plans of conquering Eternia. He eventually turned into this dreadful, disfigured entity with severe anger issues. As if the skeleton face wasn't mean enough, he also has the most brutal insults among his dialogues. There could have no one more appropriate than Alan Oppenheimer to play this challenging role. His rough voice added appeal to this menacing villain and intimidated the young viewers of the show. Skeletor is also portrayed as a smart villain who constantly plans to gain access to the magical knowledge in Castle Grayskull. He skillfully changes allegiances to suit his needs, and even though each plan of his is foiled by He-Man, he never gives up. While admiring the heroics of He-Man, fans must also take a moment to appreciate this capable villain who made the show fun to watch.
Think you're smart, Spider-Man. You're not as smart as these smart bots.
Hobgoblin, Spider-Man, 1994. The animated series based on this superhero traced his journey to achieve his superpowers after being bitten by a radioactive spider. Peter Parker developed some spider-like superpowers, such as shooting a web or a super-sensitive sixth sense. Using these powers, he fights crime in New York City and also tries to work out the struggles of his personal life. Hobgoblin is one of his biggest adversaries, and Spider-Man has a tough time countering his evil deeds. Spider-Man has been created numerous times in animation as well as movies, but this stands to be the most accurate depiction of the comic book. Every aspect of the characters was straight from the source, and we haven't had such accuracy ever since then. Hobgoblin made things interesting as a deadly villain who started off as a petty crook. He was hired by Norman Osborn to assassinate someone, and he gathered some Halloween costumes to become Hobgoblin from the folklore. Once he achieved his supervillain status, he not only troubled Spider-Man, but was also instrumental in the creation of Green Goblin. Hobgoblin was voiced by the talented Mark Hamill, who is best known for his role as Luke Skywalker in Star Wars. He does a fabulous job of bringing out the madness and pure evil of the character.
Ancient spirits of evil, transform this decayed form to Mumm-Ra, the ever-living!
Mumm-Ra from ThunderCats, 1985. ThunderCats are cat-like humanoid aliens who lived on the planet Thundera. When Thundera was destroyed by the devil priest Mumm-Ra, they were forced to flee, and in their course of their journey, They were attacked by the mutants of Plundar. Instead of their intended destination, they reach the Third Earth, where the natives help them when the mutants attack again. With Mumm-Ra hot on their trail, living in peace isn't an option. Mumm-Ra was a terrifying presence in this series, and the kids in particular were scared of his intimidating presence. He appeared right on the opening titles, and that was enough to send a shiver down their spine. He has an interesting backstory where he was a slave to the ancient spirits of evil and strives to keep a threat to the world alive. Mumm-Ra was inspired from the likes of Skeletor, and his mummy shrouds further enhanced his villainous form. The casting for Mumm-Ra couldn't have been better, as seasoned actor Robin Atkins Downs was roped in to be the voice of this pivotal character. Despite the fact that he never succeeded in his mission, he remained an extremely dangerous character whom the fans of ThunderCats respected and feared. Him, the Powerpuff Girls, 1998. Professor Ultonium accidentally created 3 superpowered little girls in the laboratory. Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup teamed up to take down the evil forces in the city of Townsville. They are adept in flying, martial arts, and are super strong, but the villains are no less. Their lost list of enemies includes the likes of Mojo Jojo and him, who are tough forces to contain. It is true that much of the hype around the villains in the Powerpuff Girls were reserved for Mojo Jojo, but him was truly fearsome in his appearance and created an aura around him that would scare the wits out of the audience. He had a demonic look, and the reality warping powers made him an invincible opponent. Him wasn't like the other villains in the show, and simply derived joy from causing pain to the Powerpuff Girls even without a mission. His devilish appearance was complemented with a creepy, effeminate demeanor and weirdly lifting voice that made him a dreadful villain in the show. His form of psychological torture and his extreme powers meant that it took a special effort to take him down. He added spice to the series and ensured that the heroic trio had to try extra hard to keep Townsville safe. Tom Kane's skillful voice modulations ensured that the character could retain the eerie nature and spook the viewers.
Yes! Another stunning Joker entrance leaves the crowd speechless! Let's hear it for him, folks!
Yay!
The Joker, Batman, the animated series, 1992. Does anyone miss the original dark mood of the comic books when it comes to Batman? Well, then this animated series is just the one for you, as it explores a moody Bruce Wayne protecting Gotham City from all kinds of crime. He is sometimes helped by Robin, and at other times, it is the Batgirl to his aid. No Batman story is complete without the Joker, and there he is in a menacing avatar. This is easily the best animated Batman series ever made. When you think Joker, you want someone special to essay the voice acting, and Mark Hamill was just the man for the job. He had played Luke Skywalker before, and as someone hailed as a hero, it was a great idea to rope him in to be the voice of Joker. Batman's arch-nemesis was an actual threat with this legendary actor lending his voice. We see the Joker as an unpredictable madman, but in the series, he does have a purpose beyond his craziness. This Joker actually paved the way for several other modified versions to come in the future. He made sure that his sinister plans tested Batman's competency to the core, and he always left a serious body count while implementing his evil schemes. The creepy smile that followed only added to the dark tone of this series. The comic book enthusiasts will have a field day with this series.
I'll tell your boyfriend goodbye for you, princess.
Jafar, Aladdin, 1994. The adventures of Aladdin are back as you see Aladdin living on the streets of Agrabah while protecting the city from all threats. He is engaged to Princess Jasmine, who is equally capable of being a hero when the occasion calls for it. Together with his monkey sidekick, a greedy parrot, the magic carpet, and the magical genie, they explore the world while keeping Agrabah safe from the evil forces. Jafar is one of the toughest villains that he must deal with. The character of Jafar inspires leadership, but in a negative way. He is calculative, cold, and cunning, but also has an aura around him that makes him charismatic. He is hungry for power, and all his evil actions have a distinct purpose. Unlike many of Disney's conventional bad guys, Jafar is an intelligent psychopath, one who can manipulate sultans, and kidnap the princess in the blink of an eye with his meticulous planning. His ability to sacrifice others to fulfill his plans makes him absolutely ruthless and an enemy to reckon with. Jonathan Freeman's scary voice was the perfect icing on the cake and paid homage to this relentlessly evil character. If you have watched Aladdin, you have certainly hated and admired Jafar.
Two annoyances with one stone.
Lex Luthor, Superman, the animated series, 1996. This animated series carries the burden of narrating the heroics of our favorite superhero, Superman. He is the last son of the planet Krypton, and he protects the Earth from all forms of evil. He might be the most powerful superhero, but he also nurtures his innocent alter ego, Clark Kent. As he battles sinister villains and rescues innocent victims, Lex Luthor is going to be the worst enemy and also the toughest. Not only is this one of the best Superman series on TV, but it is also the best rendition of Lex Luthor on the television. His character was simply evil, and it didn't take much effort to identify him as something essentially opposite to that of Superman, who epitomizes American values and justice. But he had an element of sophistication to his character besides the menacing aspect, and Clancy Brown captured it perfectly with his voiceover for this role. An amusing fact is that he actually auditioned to play Superman, but a casting genius identified him for just the right role. There were some humane characteristics in Lex Luthor, such as his greed, selfishness, and several other flaws. Overall, his grudge against our beloved superhero made him one of his strongest enemies, and it was great entertainment to watch the two battle it out.
Venger.
So, you have defeated the frost giant I set against you. I will not be so easy to deal with.
Venger, Dungeons & Dragons, 1983. Games often do not do well when made into a series or a movie, but Dungeons & Dragons proved to be an exception. This animated series told the story of a group of kids who were thrown into a fantasy world. They have to find their way home while facing the evil forces of Venger along the way. The kids are armed with some magical weapons, but with such a strong enemy, they need a little more than just magic to get back home. This animated series was co-produced by Marvel, and the contest between the 6 kids and Venger was a thrilling watch. Venger was voiced by Peter Cullen, and he has used up all his talents for the perfect execution of this mean character. If you are used to his voice for Optimus Prime, prepare for something drastically different as he slips into the character effortlessly. Venger has a scary appearance that includes a large pair of black wings, a horn, and his weird dress. Throughout the series, he tries to steal the magic weapons from the kids so that they cannot find their escape route to reach home. D&D might be lost under the sands of time, but even today, the role of Venger is bright in the memories of those who watch this show.
Once again, I am free to smite the world as I did in days long past.
Aku, Samurai Jack, 2001. A samurai warrior is on a mission to defeat the evil shape-shifting wizard Aku. However, Aku manages to send him thousands of years into the future. In this futuristic world, Aku's evil magic is the law, and the warrior must now find a way to the portal to get back to his own time and destroy the evil Aku for good. While Samurai Jack was our beloved hero, Aku was the constant threat who often seemed to be overpowering Jack. As the perfect arch-nemesis, Aku had some amazing powers, and the most stunning ability was to shift his form to anything. His metamorphic body allowed him to take any form, which made hunting him down near impossible. His appearance was enough to strike fear in the viewers, as he came with 6 horns and his weird red eyebrows made of flame. Often when Jack would attack, Aku would transform into a creature and retreat, only to attack him back during his weak moments. This shape-shifting demon was given life by some amazing voice acting by Mako Uematsu. Later on, Greg Baldwin took over the role in the 5th season. The literal meaning of the word Aku is evil in Japanese, and we can't imagine a better name for this evil entity.
This is all the time we had for today's episode. We hope you guys liked it. It would be awesome if you guys can take some time to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to tell us which topic you want us to cover in the comment section. Have a fantastic day ahead and stay safe.
Not so fast, Jafar! Aren't you forgetting something? You wanted to be a genie? You got it! And everything that goes with it!